What's going on, people? Welcome back to Total Oz Spurs. I'm joined by Brad and Lee. How are you, boys?
Good brother,
Yeah,
good.
I'm
How are
good.
you boys going?
Yeah, good, boys, good.
Yeah, I'm good after a nice away win down at the good old Brighton Hove Albion. Was a good away win, to be honest. Brighton have been
Yeah,
really good at
definitely.
home. Brighton have been really good at home. They haven't lost all season. First loss for them. And we were a bit surprised Conte tried a new system. But before we get into the depths of it, what were your general thoughts on it, Lee? How did you feel about the game?
I personally feel that we played decent. There's a few boys for myself that shined, to be honest, and I think they get a lot of credit for it. As Conte said before the game, he didn't really sit down to the boys and have a talk and run through the game plan. He just set the formation and said, "Boys, go out there and play your game of football." And as you said, they stepped up like men. I thought it was good. Yeah, as you said, they were unbeaten at home for 7 months. I believe we're the last one to beat them at home. I think last year in March, or March this month. Sorry, this
Mm-hmm.
year. They played well. Like there's a few players that I thought for Brighton really shined and really played well. But I reckon our boys dealt with it.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, Brad.
Yeah,
Your general thoughts?
look, we got the points. We got the 3 points is what we needed. It keeps us in the race for the top. At times, they looked up, but they were the better team. Um, that they honestly Brighton, they're from a team from where they were to where they are now. They are title contenders as well. They're a hard team to beat. So look, but all in all, good game. Like Lee said, some players stood out more than others, which was the best thing. And we've got to continue that form and keep it going.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think Brighton are a very good team. Everyone said it was Graham Potter that got them there, but he's gone. They've got this new manager in, and they're still playing the way they were. They put three past Liverpool. At times, they looked the much better team in the attacking sense. But and there was a thing that I was listening to earlier on that some people were saying that if Brighton had our front three, they would be top, like they'd be top three contenders because of how well they play.
Mm.
Not saying that their players are at the caliber of the top four, but the way they play in this and the way the whole team plays together, that like they're a team. It's like Leicester that when Leicester were playing with the big boys, obviously they've dropped off now, but when they won the league in the next couple of years, they're always fighting for top four because they had that core team that may have not been as good, but collectively they were really, really good. I think it's props to our boys because Brighton are a very good team, and we looked very comfortable in that game. It's a bit frustrating at times, but I feel like we went away and we did a formation change, and to me, we looked 100% better than previous games, especially following up from the Frankfurt away game and the loss to Arsenal at the Emirates. It was a good bounce back, and it was a good reaction from the players, especially with the loss of Ventrone. You could all
Mm.
see at the start, Conte couldn't even clap. He was that emotional, and Kane in his post-match interview was teary-eyed. He was trying to hold it together. You could tell his voice was quivering. So obviously, Ventroni had a really big impact on the team, and I think that is props to the players and the manager and the staff themselves to come out and pull off a result like that away at Brighton, where they're hard to beat, and do it in the way they did it. I think it's props to the whole team.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I'm gonna go straight into it. Formation, Lee. Change of formation. How do you feel about it?
You know what? We looked a lot better, a lot better. Even starting from the mids, like having Basuma on way we had the formation straight away. I think we felt a lot better, more comfortable with the balls coming out from the back. Going forward was, at times I felt bad for Cesc because he kept jumping the gun a bit and he was a bit off. He got that offside calls, but that was good. But you could see how the midfield was working with the front. But even in saying that as well, I like the defense. Our defense, I reckon, was very solid. To be honest, was very solid. As soon as they tried to counter attack, boom, we were there to to sort it out. But Dyer was the one that orchestrated the back for me, I think, personally.
Well, on that note, with the defense, I just thought about it. We have conceded joint second least amount of goals with Chelsea, West Ham, which is a bit weird. Only Newcastle, City, Everton, and Brighton have conceded less than us, and that's only by 1 goal. And I think that's actually it's everyone says the defense is our weakest point, and that's why we play the 5 at the back with the two centre mids to protect them. But I feel like with this, it goes to show how well our defenders are. And everyone mocks our defenders. Everyone says Dyer's not good enough, Davies is not good enough. But you got to give it to Conte. We've conceded 1 more goal than City, who possibly have the best defense in the league, and we all don't rate our defense that much, especially with the likes of Royale playing. So you want to add on to that, Brad? What Lee said about the formation?
Nah, look, it had to happen. We got bum raped by Arsenal, and then the way we played against Frankfurt, something had to change. And he actually listened and played. Do you know what I mean? Basuma changes their game so much, and I just feel like we should stay that formation. Just who do we sacrifice when Cooley comes back? That's the question.
Yeah, true that.
Like the only way we could do is you put Basuma back on the bench, you put Kulu in there, dominating the midfield because he can push up, he can drop back. We know he's good around, and then later on, take out Holberg, put in Basuma, and then away we go.
We did have a little bit of a controversial opinion. I want to elaborate on what you were trying to say. So, were you trying to say to put Kulu into that middle 3, or were you trying to say to take? No, the only reason why I was Conte's not going to do that because he's come out and said he's a winger. That's the only thing I was trying to say. That's why I was like, I don't see where you're coming from because Kulu and Basuma.
But if this formation works,
I think he'll fit quite well in there. To be honest,
I do too. But I don't think he's the player that Conte wants. I don't think.
Yeah, that's right.
In the middle, I think he wants him out wide. That's where we had a bit of a little bit of a disagreement. But I fully back you on that, though. If he was to turn around and go, we're going to play a midfield 3 of, I don't think you can play both. Well, you can play Højbjerg and Bentancur, but I would much prefer one of them and Basuma if you're going to play Kulu in that pushing up role.
Yeah, but you could play Kulu, Basuma, and Bentancur, and then take off Bentancur, bring on Skip or Højbjerg, but then you know what I mean. Højbjerg's a starter.
I was going to say for me, yeah, Højbjerg's definitely has to be a starter.
I'm going to make it now. I think that Højbjerg and Bentancur have been our top 2 players of the season so far. I don't think
100%.
I don't think anybody's played better. And shout out to Delane. I know you can't be on there now, bro. But
you cooked your pasta, Al.
I think you and Nathan were right, Delane. I think you both, we all kind of said it, but you and Nana were the ones pushing it. The 5-3-2 really looks a lot better because we have that midfield control. I think Højbjerg and Bentancur don't control it as much as we'd like.
They can't control it, but when, as I've said as well, one of them dropped back into the back 3 or back 4. Then we've only got one midfielder. We've got nothing going forward. That's
the point there. You're right.
You know what I mean? It's clear as day. Teams can see it, and that's how Arsenal broke us down.
And that's how we got caught out as well with Højbjerg, with the slow balls coming straight from the back. Push to the mids, get it out there quick enough. But sometimes it's like he just takes an extra step or an extra look to give it. But I think he has been one of our best players. But just the momentum going forward for our attack, like you see the boys. I even said the other day he was on his bike. Højbjerg could have popped it off earlier, but he sort of does that little pullback, then looks again to give it to someone, But it's working. Like it's.
Well, there's one player that I want to shout out, and as expression says, it's Diego Maradocati. I don't want to see Royal in that right wing back role.
If
Doherty is fit.
And look, he's rusty as at the moment. You know what I mean? And he didn't have a bad game.
The thing is, if he had game time and he was match fit and match sharpness, the ball where Bentancur rolled him through, and all he had to do was square it to Cess, that would have been a goal. And that volley that he had, and like you said, if he had some game time and he was a bit more match sharpness, he would have buried that on his left foot. So I
100%.
think
Bloody oath.
going forward, I think Royal needs to stop spending the millions of dollars and you start realizing that maybe you can't cut it as a right wing back because Matt Doherty's been out for 5 months and
where
done
would you
more in
where
one
would you
game.
put Royal
On the
if
bench.
you can't play there or for
Bench.
sale? I'd probably put him
Sale.
sale.
Because
Yeah, well,
see
obviously,
later.
the next transfer window, he's got to be up for sale. Look, don't get me wrong, I was backing him for the first couple of games. I was really tooting his horn, but
Yeah, we all
look
were.
at Doherty,
He
the way
played
he
good.
played, and he done it. He had a few hiccups. Obviously, he hasn't had much game time, and his match fitness isn't 100%. But like you said, I honestly thought that volley it was burning the back of the net. But just give him a couple more days.
The injury he came back from as well on his knee, especially trying to do agility like that on his knees, he won't be. He'd still be a little bitch about it. You know what I mean? Like he'd still be scared.
Yeah.
So,
well, he looked a lot sharper than when he came off the bench the other day.
Definitely.
But like, it's kind of like for me, it's not also not the chances. It's the way he was attacking the game. He was always ready to go. As soon as he got that ball, he was looking forward.
Yeah, he was off.
And you saw he was playing that right wing role, whereas Royal just sits behind. Like Kulu's like I know we're playing two in the middle and Doc had to push up more. But when we transitioned back to when Richarlison came on and Basuma came off, he was still up there on the right wing.
Yeah,
he was still pushing up, creating that extra man on the right hand side, just like Perisic did on the left. And I feel like now, like Conte has said that Doherty was injured, so that's why he hasn't played him. Royal hasn't grasped his chance. For me now, he needs to be dropped, and Spence needs to be given that opportunity as the backup because Royal's had 9-10 games, and what's he done? Got a red card, and how many shots has he taken in the last 4 or 5 games? That if that was Doherty, probably would have buried 1 or 2 of them.
But why would you try and go for a red card in the North London derby when we know we're fucking
I don't think he tried to go for it.
No, it was just a stupid tackle.
It just looks like Serge all over again, but just stupid shit that needs to be
a little bit,
He just lost his head for a minute and it fucked us.
What I liked about Doherty though is the fact that it didn't look like there was any difference in defense.
No,
like he's defending. Even that last ditch at the end when he blocked that shot, when he cut off the shot when they fed it through. Delane,
shit!
I don't want to see Royal in a Spurs shirt. Doherty and Spence my right wing back for the season. So Royal, he's shit. I don't want to see him playing again.
Well, I think you just did, D.
Yeah, I think there's nothing Conte can say. I don't want to see Royal again. I think he would be a good right back in a Poch system where but the thing is, even in the Poch system, the right wing backs, the wing backs were, or the right and left back were both asked to push forward like Rose and Walker did, because Dyer would transition from the centre defensive mid into the defence and the back three in attack. So, but that's what we had out of Vertonghen. You can't do that now.
Solid brick walls.
And talking about Dyer, how consistent has this man been? I know he's not the best. I know he's not a Rolls Royce of a defender, but you can't knock the consistency.
I reckon he's one of the best centre backs in the league at the moment.
At the moment, absolutely.
I wouldn't say the best.
Directed our defense.
I'm not. He's in the top, but
I think he's been the most consistent with his ability and the fact that he hasn't made many mistakes that's led to a goal. Yeah, I'm not saying he's a Varane type player. I'm not saying he's compared to Van Dijk at peak. I'm not saying he's a Thiago Silva level, because I don't think Dyer will ever reach that. But sometimes there's like Johnny Evans at United. Sometimes there's players that aren't the best in their position, but if they're consistent enough, they can't. Like Alex Ferguson used to keep Johnny Evans in there at the back end when obviously Ferdinand went and Vidic went. Johnny Evans was still winning leagues with him in the back. And I think that we do need to strengthen up the centre backs, but Dyer has to be mentioned as one of our players of the season so far. Him, Højbjerg, and Bentancur have been the most consistent out of the whole team, and he showed it again. He marshalled the defence. I've never seen a defence be that good.
Yeah,
all season.
Yeah, solid. And they were very good counter-attacking, and the balls they were putting through, I was a bit. If Royal was there, to be honest, I would have been like fucking scared, shitting myself. Going, here we go, it's a goal here, definite goal. But yeah, our defense, especially with their counters, like Brighton's counters, not something to sleep on. They were good, But yeah, we were very, very solid. And hats off to Dyer for that as well. I think he added more to the defense and marshaled them, like you said, Jay, very well.
Fair point.
And what's your points on your outlook on how far Davies and Romero were bombing on? Like, it's fucking
Romero's further than Kane sometimes.
Yeah.
Which
like Davies was running up to the box. Well, I think it was okay, to be honest. Like Davies, as we all know, Davies isn't one of those players that we highly rate, but I think he's got a bit better over the last season.
He's like a Dyer. He's very consistent.
Yeah, but
he's not scared to get in there and niggle, and the way they were coming up. Romero, I'm not really worried too much if Romero comes up because he still has that little touches in the ball placement, which is good. And Davies, I'll give it to him. He scored some bangers from, just outside the opposition box, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, I just thought it was a bit different tactic. I don't know if it's going to be long term, maybe because it was just Brighton that we could bomb more people up front because we only had Kane and Son up there. Yeah. But it was a weird tactic. But I'm worried that against the better teams, if they try and do that, like City, they're just going to counter
get us on the counter. Yeah.
And that's where it's worrying. I mean, that's maybe we do that when Basuma's in there to because he can protect the back. One goes up and he drops back into the 3 to protect. But different tactic. And I want to mention Cess as well. I think he didn't. There's a lot of controversy with Cess. Everyone thinks he's not good enough. I think he's not showing his potential that he had shown a couple of years ago. I think he's going to be one of those players that doesn't reach the ceiling that that he should have reached. But he's starting to produce a bit more consistency. He's not as bad. He's starting to push a bit more, get the ball in a bit more. He should have had a goal with Doherty. Should have squared it to him. But do you think Cess is starting to grow a bit since Perisic? I know it's a bit slow. We want him to be the ready-made left wing back. I think Perisic will stay one more year and then he'll retire. So we've got a season and a half for Perisic to kind of mold him into a left wing back that Conte wants, if Conte stays. But do you see Cess moving on, or do you as in getting better in his position, or do you think he's going to kind of stale?
Well, it's obviously got better. If you can't see that, then you're blind.
100%.
Like that wasn't a good. Cess barely even played last year, and when he did, he wasn't that great. This year, he's come out of his shell and he's actually playing like he was playing at Fulham all over again.
No, I wouldn't say that. He was playing left wing at Fulham and banging in 17 goals, but that was in the Championship.
Yeah, but
he didn't play very well.
He's playing left wing back, so he's not going to score goals, but he's pushing like he was. He's doing everything that we need him to do. He's probably doing it better than Perisic is, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, Perisic has been a bit quiet. But that's, like I said in the last video that we did last week, I think that's due to just the fact that everything gets fed down the left because they push us to the right. So Perisic goes to go, they may mark him, and then he has to go to the other side because Royal can't fucking cross, and that's where teams pushes. So I think if Doherty starts playing, Perisic will get a lot more time. And I think Conte is going to play Cess in the league and play Perisic in Champions League because I think he's going to try and push for both and have Cess, unless it's a big game, Cess will start in the league now.
Yeah.
Because I think he's more suited to that level at the moment.
I thought he played really well, to be honest. And then going back to how you said, I reckon he's adapted very well. Like, I know Perisic has only been here for a long time. Yeah, I know Perisic only hasn't been here a long time, but you can see it's rubbing off on him. And him and Sonny March, that was a good matchup, to be honest. He did get picked out a few times, but the way Cess was going and the Ks, the Ks that he run that game, and he was very eager, he was. Yeah, he made a few slight mistakes, which every player's going to make that. But I thought he played really well, and he marked Sonny March awesome. As a player, you don't give him space, and Cess didn't give him no space. And he tried to stay on him and mark him as much as he could. And the balls that he was putting in, I honestly thought he was going to get a goal if Doherty gave it to him. I thought Cess was in it for sure. He needs to time his runs a little bit better. He did get picked out twice for 2 offsides, but doesn't matter.
I think one of them where he was through on goal. I just think that Højbjerg held it too long. I feel like he timed his run and Højbjerg took that extra slight little touch and then fed it. And by that time, Cess is so quick, he was off. I think that it's unfair because he has got so much pace, and I think he was timing it, but we just don't have that. It's kind of, I don't know if you watched the United game, but it's when Casemiro got the ball back and fed it straight through to Ronaldo through the middle. Yeah. Literally, it was one touch, bang, gone. The ball was gone before.
That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do.
Casemiro's, one of the best midfielders of his generation, for Real Madrid, So if Højbjerg had released it half a second earlier, Cess was through on goal. And
would have been a tasty goal.
I don't think his finishing is as good as what we would like it to be as a left wing, as an attacking threat, but as a left wing back, I think he may have finished it. Sanchez is a good goalkeeper, though, so, 50-50 for me. And now we're going to move into the midfield maestros. We've covered a bit about Basuma and the formation, but how good was it to see Bentancur and Højbjerg pushing up, assisting the attack, getting involved, and the pressure? Bentancur running up.
Yeah, what a boss.
We had like a front four at one stage, or front five, where we're putting a lot more pressure on that we haven't done, in a while, because with Basuma, Bentancur can push up, Højbjerg can push up, and then the wing backs push up, and we still have that defensive, capability with Basuma in there. So how good was it? Our two boys in the midfield, our engines.
Yeah, definitely. Bentancur, he's honest developing each and every game, to be honest. Every game I see him play, I see something different with him that he's getting better at. And Højbjerg, he's a bit slow on the ball, but he's that Viking. He's got that passion. And you see him have a go at Kane and Doherty for talking as well. During like the silence when they were clapping, he went off with him. He had a go. He had a pop, which he's got that fight. We need that, but he just needs to let that ball go and release it earlier.
No, you're exactly right. We needed that from the start. Them to dominate in the midfield, and it's shitty that it took to add an extra player for them to do that, but it had to happen. They needed an extra person to stay back to feed them, but they just got, like I said, they got to be quick with their feet and look up and just go bang, because we could score easy with our counter with Cess, Son, and Kane pushing when Cooley comes back and Richie. If them two can get the balls through, we're going to pop off goals, and we're just going to dominate teams. Our counter's going to be nasty, but we've got to get to that situation first.
Yeah,
because we aren't there yet. We're still slow moving from the back and midfield, and then we die in the ass.
I think it's more the front now. The front are form. Like, it sounds weird to say that Kane's got fucking 8 and 9 in the league, and if Haaland wasn't in the league, everyone would be talking about Kane getting a golden boot. He's only 10 away from Jimmy Greaves. He's outright third, and the way he's going, he'll beat Rooney's record. I think it's Rooney is second. Rooney? No, Rooney can't be second. Who's second? Is it in? Have a look. Out of the all-time. Let me double check, because I always seem to forget. Why the hell have they not given? Sorry. Yeah, Wayne Rooney. So he's 17 goals off, and the way he's going, he'll score more than 25 this year. He'll probably beat that if he keeps going the way he's going. And he's not playing well. And let's be honest, Kane
has been a bit unlucky. Yeah,
no,
Kane isn't playing well, and he's still got 8 and 9. Son's what I thought after that hat trick he'd go off, but I want to say it. They're tired.
Yeah,
that to me, they need a good week off, 2 weeks off, because you got to think about it, right? We had the run-in from last season, very intense, pit Arsenal to top 4. Kane goes away to Nations League. Son goes away to Korea, plays every game for England and Korea, and then they come back preseason straight into it. They get like a week off, week and a half off, straight into preseason. They go to South Korea, hot as fuck. They go to Israel, hot as fuck, and they come back. And then within a week, they're playing their first Prem game because everything gets pushed forward because of the World Cup, and they've played every game. Well, Son started on the bench against Leicester, but Kane's played every game in the nation in the friendlies for England. Didn't have a rest. Son played every game for South Korea. For me, I think they're just tired. They're just so tired from carrying this team for the last 2 years that they haven't had a proper break.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is where I'm like, if this is it's the most crucial time of the season for us. But I also feel like if we don't rest them now, we're going to lose them for the rest of the season with the World Cup coming up, because they're both going to the World Cup as well. Like, Kulu isn't going, so Kulu should be starting more over the Son for me. And then with Kane, unfortunately, we don't have but we have Richarlison, and I feel like we can rotate it once Mora comes back, where we can drop Kane and Son to the bench and go, all right, start with these three. If we need a goal, bring them both on.
Yeah.
We can do that.
How do you boys feel about Kane and Son now? I know Kane has scored, as I said, 8 and 9, but do you think they're tired, or do you think they're just not clicking at the moment because Sonny's a bit off form?
But you can't just say it's Son. Kane's off form. Yeah, he scored goals, but what apart from those 8 goals has Kane done? Kane normally does more. He's not finishing. What he didn't have, he scored that header in the weekend. That was it. But the last 3 games, what has he really done? Nothing.
Well, apart from
Sonny,
score goals, which is what you want your scorer to do. But
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
yeah, but
Apart
still,
from that,
from
his
what he was,
passes.
from what he was last year, he was in the midfield. He was putting the balls through. He was linking up with Son. He was assisting Son every game.
Mm,
Them two were dynamite last year, and okay,
yeah.
maybe look, our expectations are going to be high because what they come off last year, and they're top athletes. They should be doing that every game. But give them a rest. Let them come off the
Yeah,
bench this
fatigue.
weekend. Like they need to start them this weekend. Let them play the Champions League game. Rest them. Bring them off in the bring them on in the second
is it
half.
Everton this weekend?
It's Everton.
Yeah,
Bring them on in the second
Everton
half.
this weekend. Yeah,
Everton are playing okay, so I would
Yeah,
start
but
one
still.
of them.
Okay,
But
drop Zane, start Son.
start Cunt.
Start Cunt. Start Cunt.
I see. For me, yeah, I think Richarlison
Let
can
Kane
play
have
that
let
striker
Kane have a
role.
break. Or let Sonny
And-
get the striker
yeah.
role, but
I personally think Kane's more important because he is scoring goals at the moment. Son isn't. I at one stage I felt Son was our most important player because he was stepping up when Kane was out injured, and then he'd still step up like last year when
maybe Sonny
Kane
needs
was
that.
in the
But
team.
he needs that confidence. To go right,
Um,
sweet. He's trusting me up front. I can play.
But the thing is, with the injuries that we have, with Moura out, Kulu out, we only have Hill and Richarlison as backups for those two. So I don't think Conte's going to drop him until Kulu's fit
I
again.
dead set thought Kane was injured. Got injured last game. I honestly did. When Skippy come on, I thought, "Fuck, here we go."
Yeah, the
Ankle
way he was
injury.
limping
It was
after the
precaution.
game.
He even
Yeah,
said
I know
himself that
it
it was
was.
just, when someone's going for a full whack on a ball and they hit you in the back of the ankle, you're going to
that's
feel
gonna
it.
hurt.
Delane has popped in and he reckons that we would rest Kane. I think we're all in agreement. I think Kane needs to have that rest.
Yeah.
I think that's the best course of action because Richarlison, like Son, I think Richarlison's more of a striker than a sunny, floaty, wingy role. But would you go for the 5-3-2 this weekend if
No,
Kane and Son aren't playing?
no.
Uh,
I'll go the formation we just had.
That's the 5-3-2, yeah.
5-3, yeah.
Oh,
I would.
yeah.
I would. But you still need one of them there, Kane or Son there. To be honest, I personally think we should rest Kane, just for a week. Let him play champs. Rest him.
Yeah, let him play
'cause he is
Champions
looking a
League
bit
and then
fatigued. But even
Let's have him
Sonny,
on
I
the
reckon
bench.
start Sonny.
I think Son shouldn't start champs. I think because we'll do a review tomorrow, a match preview, and we'll have our opinions there. But I think they need a rest. Like in general, I just think they both need a rest. I think a good week off would have been good. I know we had the week off with the Queen and that, but we still had Champions League games.
Yeah.
And we've only had one less. Like Arsenal, I think they missed 2 games, so they had a bit more rest. So, which they're on fire at the moment. I don't know when they're going to lose next because they seem to be beating teams. That they
Well, the way they're going, they probably won't until they beat City.
Football.
But let's get on to the subs. So Richarlison came on for Basuma, Skip came on for Kane, and who else came on? Hill came on for.
And Perisic came on as well.
Oh no, so Perisic Hill didn't come on, did he?
No.
So Perisic came on for Sonny. So Perisic played further up the pitch, but he didn't really get involved that much. I think the game was pretty much game management.
He just did that just to know we've got defense and nothing's going to happen. And if it
slow
does
it
happen,
down
we've
a
got
bit.
someone who can score. He just did that for Perisic just to control the game and go, right, let's just win this game. We don't need to do anything
Let's not
too
concede.
drastic. Yeah. Let's just play the game out. That's what needed to happen.
Yeah,
I like Richie when he come on too. The intensity of Richie when he come on.
Well, I think
Richie does
honestly,
what Richie does.
I think Richie's a better impact player. I just think that the energy that he shows, it's not, to me, for our system. Everton, it helped because he was the main man at Everton, so everything ran through him. But for us, I feel like his energy's better off because he's the type of person to make those runs that Kane can feed him, or he's that person that where that loose ball comes through, he's the one to niggle it.
He's on it, yeah.
That's better in the back end, like in the second half after 60 minutes when players are getting tired because he can win that ball. I feel like Skip was decent. He showed a lot of energy. He showed a lot of eagerness. Didn't show too much, but I'd like to see him start midweek. I know it sounds
Skippy has to
crazy.
start.
Yeah, give
I
him
just
more
think
game
that,
time.
especially if you're playing three in the middle, you just alternate him and Basuma between the Champions League and whichever game you want to prioritize. But this is a game we need to win. I do think we're going to smack Frankfurt because we're playing at home. Like their atmosphere away was insane. I think that intimidated the players. But it's the first home game since Ventroni's death too, so that's going to be a very emotional game again.
Yeah.
I think the crowd's going to be
Conte's
insane.
Conte's already said he wants them to win this midweek.
Yeah,
it's a must. It's a must.
I think the way the players reacted, the fact that they came out 2 days after, you know, us boys know what it's like to lose someone, and then have to, carry on the next couple of days and try and do what you normally do. I give massive raps to Conte because that was like his father figure for 20 odd years. He was a fitness coach at Juventus. He's brought him through every team he's had. He's had him as his trainer. You could see even the short time he's been with the club. He came in November 21, and the fact that he's got all these videos and photos of hugging Son and Kane and and the way the players reacted. And I want to give a massive shout out to Hugo. I know we haven't really spoken about Hugo. He had a decent game, but the respect he showed at the end with the shirt. I know he hasn't won anything with us, but Hugo for me goes down as one of our legends.
100%.
Been with the club for over 10 years now. And I give massive props to him for actually doing that because it can't have been easy. And you could see it in their faces in that clap, the minute clap, not one of them wasn't affected. You could tell by their faces. None of them wanted to look around. None of them showed any disrespect by, biting their lips or staring into the sky. They all looked focused and they showed a lot of courage to come out and play like they did. But wrapping it up on your final thoughts, boys. Well, so out of 10, what do you think our rate our performance in terms of the way we control it? Like we went out that game. I'll start with you, Lee. What do you rate out of 10?
7.5 to 8 maybe. Only just because the way it was controlled. Like we didn't look too sketchy. The formation, obviously, for me, I thought it worked awesome. Big props to the defense. That was big props to the defense. I would have said maybe 8.5, 9 if we did score another goal, but it didn't happen. But yeah, no, I'd say 7.5 to 8, to be honest, only just because of the consistency of the way the game went. When we're under fire, they had more ball and they played more attacking than what we did, but we still controlled it. So I'd go 7.5 to 8.
Yeah, like I give us 8. We've won the game. We kept the clean sheet. We could have done better. They would. Yeah, look, 8. We were just there. We played with a heart on our sleeve most of the time. We got the win, but we can be better, and we need to be better.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go for 7.5. I think you're both right. We went there, put up a good performance with a new formation, especially with the situation with Ventroni and Brighton. And the thing is, Brighton have been really good at home. So it's kind of like for me, it's good to go there. No, teams have already gone now. I think they've played Chelsea or whatever already there, and they haven't dropped a point. They've played some good teams. Brighton are a good team. They went to Liverpool and got fucking draw. So they aren't a bad team. And I think we did really well to control the game. We did how we did. The defense did really well. Like you said, Lee, if we had scored a couple more goals and we had chances to score a couple more goals, Kane was through.
Yeah.
Duncan had that shot. And I think if he was a bit more rested and a bit more on it, he would have buried that. I think the Doherty, if he was more match fit, he would have crossed it and buried that and then buried his volley. It could have been 4-1 up if those 3 chances were better controlled and they were pulled off. But you can't complain about a win. That puts us 4 points clear in third. Chelsea have a game in hand though. So do United. They're 4 behind us, and United are 5. But we're still 4 behind Arsenal, 3 behind City. We're still in it. I think at the end of the year will really dictate when we come back from the World Cup. We play Liverpool the first game back from the World Cup, so that'll be Liverpool are in turmoil. They just lost Diaz till December. So I think Liverpool will be dusted. I don't think they're going to make top 4 this year. I don't
Trent
think
has gone for 3 weeks as well.
Trent's out 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, why can't we play next week?
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it was a good performance. I'm hoping we'll get a video out tomorrow for the review, the preview for the Frankfurt game. Hopefully we can get all the boys on. Or I know Nano's on night shift right now, so he won't be able to jump on. But hopefully Delane can jump on. But we'll wrap it up here, boys. I appreciate you both for coming on. I know it's a bit late. We all got work tomorrow, but I appreciate your effort. And I appreciate everyone that's joined us. Delane, shout out to Delane for giving us the hot questions and saying it how he feels. And if you're watching, like and subscribe. Hit the bell button on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, make sure you're following the Twitch channel. We always stream live when we're doing our videos, so we've streamed to both at the same time. Had some issues with Facebook recently. On my end, I'm trying to sort that out so we don't have any problems in the future. So you can go back to streaming on Facebook as well. I know some people like watching it on Facebook; it's a bit easier. And we're going to wrap it up. So I'm gonna let buddy Lee take this away. Take it away, Lee.
Well, boys, like Jason said, like, subscribe, hit that bell, and as always here at Total Oz Spurs, stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy.
Stay Spursy.